In today's society, there's terror that reigns in the United States and the world. And one group that is synonymous for bringing this to it is ISIS. ISIS stands for the Islamic State in Israel and Syria. And who they really are, they're a terroristic group that has emerged in the last 2 or 3 years that is known for their conquest in the Middle East. And they don't just affect the Middle East, they affect the world, as I said. They are known for bombings that take place in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Africa, along with beheadings that also affect the United States. They've beheaded some of our journalists and other travelers throughout the Middle East, along with British journalists and other Westerners. And the reason they seem to be doing this comes down to two things. One minor reason would be Sharia law, which Sharia law is known as the political ties between the Syrian and Islamic religion, which is kind of, we don't recognize that because in our government, church and state is supposed to be separate, but in the Islamic government over there in the Middle East, they combine to form one big group so they can kind of understand each other's belongings. And the other reason would be jihad. And that's the problem we face with ISIS. And jihad is known as the war against other people to protect their religion. And it is unique to the Islamic religion because it's been around for so long. The history of jihad has been going back to the 8th century when crusaders to the Middle East have died for their religion. And that's really one aspect of where the word martyr comes from, someone who dies for their religion. And Tim Lister of CNN.com says that jihad shows passion. And what Tim tries to explain is that this is the main reason for why people join the group, because if they see something that people stand up and believe in, other Islamic Muslims are going to join the jihad movement. And perspective is a big thing with jihad too. As we see it as killings, they see it as justification. As we see it as murders, they celebrate because they want to protect their religion when we see it as harmful things to our society. And the solution that has been proposed for the last 10 to 15 years would be using military from the United States point of view. And we have the biggest army, why not use it? That's one of the points that was brought up in the George W. Bush era when 9/11 happened. And that was the first really jihadist movement that from Al-Qaeda. That wasn't from ISIS, that was from Al-Qaeda, which is a little bit before ISIS. And that was the big thing because they sent 2 planes in the Twin Towers in New York City, which was the first time the United States citizens had ever seen something that big. And from that point on, George Bush decided to send military, specifically army troops all over the Middle East and Iraq, Iran to try to defeat this. And that happened in 2001. But it's almost 2016 at this point, and for 15 years, it's worked a little bit. We've captured some people such as Osama bin Laden and some other people, but it's just we're having more deaths and more conflict. More people are disagreeing with the cause, so it truly isn't working. And James Kitfield supported that idea from nationaljournal.com because he said we can't stand here and let innocent people die, which is a great point. That's why we did it in 2001, but it's 2015. Things have got to change. And if you kill, and the reason it's not working is because when you got to kill one, you got to kill them all. This kind of means that once the United States went over there and started killing, not necessarily killing, but trying to influence the terrorist groups to stop by trying to level them off, the innocent people in those parts of Iran, Iraq, Syria, Israel, all saw the military coming in and destroying what they had, and they sided with the terrorist groups because of their religious beliefs. They may have not agreed with what they were doing overseas and killing, but they had to support their religious followers, which is another reason of jihad, because they believe that other people coming in and infiltrating their territory is a threat to their religion. And this is truly war towards their religion. This is truly what jihad is. When the United States military move in, this is truly war against Islam. And the solution that I, as a student, would suggest, and also from Richard Seymour of TheGuardian.com, says humanitarian intervention is necessary. And what this means is he thinks that peace should be resolved, or this should be resolved in a peaceful manner, and that we shouldn't try to manipulate one another and see who can kill the most people, but discover a peaceful way to do it. And what Richard tries saying, which I agree with, is get all the leaders to come together. political, military, and religious, regardless of whether they're outlawed or not. If they have a social impact on everyone in the world, bring them together. Bring the United States military and army together, along with the Islamic religious leader, along with ISIS terrorist group leader, and people from Europe, and get them all to understand and get them all on the same page. Because if one person doesn't understand the impact from the other side, there's always going to be conflict and there's always going to be death. So, and then the most important leader that needs to be there is the Islamic religious leader, so they can explain that the real aspect of jihad and what it really means to have protect your religion. Because killing people that are innocent and have no affiliation with war is just tragic and doesn't need to happen in this world. So the problem with jihad needs to be solved through a peaceful impact that needs to be resolved very quickly to prevent another 10 or 15 years of ISIS reign and death that is not necessary.